not like up our noses.
We're good.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, Mark.
Here we are.
At the Big Ugly Brewing.
Big Ugly Brewing.
All right. We had our introductory jingle, and we are filming on January 18th.
18th, yes.
2 more days until
we're not getting into politics.
Martin Luther King holiday.
Gotcha.
And we have some.
That comes up with ground rules. We'll be getting there.
We have some introductions, so I'm going
the list.
to borrow the
introductions. You know us. Hold on. You know us. So.
And our guest of the day, my beautiful wife, Michelle.
Yes.
All right.
And camera person for the day.
Camera person for the day.
Yes.
So we're gonna come back to her in a few minutes, but we're just going ahead and
following the schedule.
We're coming to you from a VW microbus.
Yes,
an actual original classic, and we'll look at it from the outside in a minute. I want to pull up our itinerary, which is right here, and so we did
introductions. So
we're setting the ground rules, which we know: no politics, no religion, and
probably no sex.
No recipes for food, right?
No food recipes. Yeah, no food recipes.
No sex in the microbus. And then finally, how to reach us.
Don't.
No. Go to theogpopcast.com. A site will soon be available.
Yeah. Don't bother, because I'm definitely not going to look at anything or even care what anyone says.
All right, curmudgeon. Are you ready for our pop joke?
You doing it, or am I?
You're doing it.
Okay. We got to do our monthly pop joke.
Here we go. This is a good one.
Did you hear about the restaurant on the moon? Has great food, but no atmosphere.
No. All right. Well, Thank goodness that's out of the way.
Yeah, get that out of the way.
What's the observation for the day? I guess beer is good. Beer is something that was created how many years ago?
Oh, billions. Billions.
Probably thousands. One of the oldest drinks here. Put it on Braxton. He's going to tell us the facts. We need some facts.
How long ago was beer?
I think it's like 2,500 or 3,000 BC.
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe even earlier. I can't recall exact dates, but the Sumerians were some of the first beer makers.
You're right.
And there you have it.
And actually, I think
the history of beer.
To beer.
Good
Here
enough.
we go. All right. There's our observation of the day. Beer is older than all of us. Almost in modern human civilization too.
Yes. And we're here at. Hold on. Big Ugly. Can you see that?
Big Ugly, yep.
Okay, good.
See that one?
No plumber's crack.
Beer run.
No plumber's crack.
And I'm just going to pan to
Why don't you the Big Ugly Brewing.
Big Ugly
there we
Brewing.
There you go.
All right. So my recommendation is, why don't we take this thing outside for a moment?
Introduction. Okay, so additional introduction, right?
Oh, you mean? Yeah. So we have a new addition to our microbus. Just here from Charlottesville. Cheers.
it's another Pete.
Another Big Ugly fan.
We're
Cheers.
celebrating beer. That's our observation for the day. Beer is older than all of us.
Yes.
My show?
So Mark told me that I could join as long as I didn't give him my opinion. So.
No. Online. No, that's fine. Opinions are fine on video.
Yes.
Not online. No posting. No other stuff. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. So, for the deep winter, you don't work on the boat. So that project is on hold till probably March or April. Yeah.
So,
Any old projects?
do we have any new projects?
New projects.
Oh yes, I do have a new project.
No. Oh no.
This is a follow-up on the beard trimming
Oh no.
video. I just have to show off my new Christmas present. I ended up having if I can get it out. Oh, great. Sorry, a prop failure.
Oh, one of those. I remember those as a kid.
I've got a beard comb. Isn't that cool? Got to keep that beard now looking good, and a beard brush. That's what you do after you finish trimming your beard. Now you got to keep it nice and smooth.
Okay, we can cut that stuff out. We're done. If you ever want to watch episode 3, cut the chase on the beard trimming. It's way too long.
Unless you need to trim your beard. So there you go. That was my new project.
Okay.
All right. So now we are going to have a theme for the day. Mark, show up your hat.
So the theme for today is, it's introduction of family and family stories, which includes D-Day. So we will cover D-Day.
But before we get to that, I'm wearing an LA hat
Yes.
for, in solidarity with all our family as well as all the people down in
And
LA
friends, in
that
LA.
have unfortunately experienced some awful wildfires there in town that have destroyed entire neighborhoods. And our heart goes out to them and our prayers, and we do hope that those people will be able to find shelter and rebuild their lives.
Yeah.
So
a you might say ex-family member, son of a cousin, lost his house in the Altadena fire. Literally, it was coming down the hill. They got their kids and the wife, jumped in the car with clothes on their back, and ran. They lost the house, their cats, everything. They couldn't grab anything. All their memories, all their books and their projects and their films and just everything they had in life was gone. They got out with literally the clothes on their back. It was that bad and that quick. So yeah, we're definitely in solidarity with the LA people.
Yep. So let's go on then to now introduce our next speaker.
Okay.
Excellent. Cheers again.
Back to it. Okay.
So we are going to be now presenting a little family history.
Covering family history
and we're going to be
stories.
covering the Pattison history
Yes.
from my wife's side, which is involving all my children and grandchildren, obviously. And we're going to be actually heading out to England in just a couple of weeks. So I want to go ahead and have my wife introduce her grandfather.
And father and
Okay, so my name's Michelle. My father's name is John Clive Pattison, went by Clive, and his father was John Pattison, went by Jack. And Peter is going to tell you some history of my family going back to my grandfather, Jack, as my father related to him.
But tell me where your grandfather first started in England. Where do you live?
I'm pretty certain he was born, well, my father was born in Silverdale, which is kind of like up north England. I think that's where my grandfather came from. I'm not 100% certain on that.
question for your
what-
mother next time you see her.
What's that part of England called? It's got a specific accent.
Northern England.
Is it like
Up in England.
Jersey? I
Not
thought
Jersey.
Not Jersey, but it has a.
That's near New York.
No,
New
Jersey
York.
came from England.
New
All
York.
of America is from England. Come on.
Either way, we will hand the camera back over to you.
Geordie.
Geordie.
You're thinking Geordie.
Geordie. He's a Geordie. He was a Geordie.
My grandfather.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So
Again, because of D-Day, this is the story for Michelle's family. In honor of
we are trying to document some of the history that I heard from her father, John Clive Pattison, that he had told me about his dad. He was a teenager during World War II in England and became a very avid aviation fan. And a lot of the material that we're going to show you here today is
his library,
from Clive's library
Clive Memorial Library.
that we were able to preserve and hold on to.
Michelle has liberated a lot of it to bring home.
Yeah, sure. So I can
America.
show to the rest of our viewing public. And so again, this is something that I heard secondhand, but again, I
Clive.
absolutely believe the authenticity of it, and we'll probably verify when we get back to England sometime in the next couple of weeks. So my understanding was that her grandfather, John, or he goes by Jack, was a builder up in northern England that during World War II, or at the build-up to World War II, was contracted by the RAF, by the British government, to help in the war effort by building factories down in the southern part of the country for the Sterling bombers. And I'm going to go ahead and...
We have props.
There we go.
Props, dude.
So this is a magazine that actually is something that I think dates from 1960 something, but anyways, it has a whole section on the Sterling bomber, and I actually have a model from Clive's own collection that he gave me, and he asked me to promise him to build this. So that's my next project after I finish the Musashi, is to build this Sterling bomber, because it was what brought his family to Swindon. And then also, the interesting tie-in is that this was one of the bombers based in RAF Lakenheath, which is where Michelle and I were stationed when I was in England with the Air Force, about 50 years later. So, the story was that then after his work on building factories and building hangars for the RAF, he was asked to participate in a top secret project in preparation for the D-Day invasion. And it was called the Mulberry Harbor. So this is
More
a
props.
magazine,
More props.
magazine that basically
Again.
describes the casemates, which were these large concrete floating
Caissons.
or casemates, that were built on the shore of England and then were transported on D-Day to the French coastline to basically create a artificial harbor. And you can refer to all the Wikipedia or history books if you want to hear more. But the thing was that it was a top secret thing.
Bottom one.
Even her, Michelle's family was not able to know what he was working on, because even though it was probably the worst kept secret in England, everybody knew that the Allied forces were going to be invading France and occupied France and to invade Germany. People didn't know when or where, and so they had assembled these big concrete piers at the shoreline of England. And one of the stories that Clive told me about was his dad told him after the war, obviously.
Fine.
No, I got it. That one day when he was out supervising the construction of one of these caissons, he got an opportunity to see one of the first jet fighter bombers of the war when and according to Clive's verification, his dad was pretty sure that this was a German Arado 234, which was a twin-engine jet that he heard this unusual sound coming over their site, and then from a high altitude, it dropped a bomb, which ended up falling down in the water harmlessly. Didn't damage anything, but it was like right on the other side of where his dad was standing. And this
these bombers were also reconnaissance. They were mainly reconnaissance to take photos and
here's
find
a
out what's
picture of
going
it.
on. But they had bombs also.
Here's a picture of it. So this is from a book, again, from Clive's library. And this is the Arado 234, which is a twin-engine jet plane that was specifically meant for bombing purposes and reconnaissance.
So as history goes, the caissons were, during the invasion, they were floated across. They were taken across the English Channel
with tugs
to basically build a artificial harbor where they could dock big cargo ships and unload them and get all those supplies, because at that time they hadn't yet captured any of the port cities, so they didn't have port facilities to work with. So they built this so that they could start unloading the massive amounts of supplies needed for taking the invasion inland. So
it definitely contributed to the war,
victory,
to the success of the D-Day invasion. And then it was interestingly that within a couple of weeks, a huge storm, one of the biggest storms in the English Channel, ended up destroying the harbor that was man-made. But by then, the Allies were able to capture some of the port cities in the surrounding area, and they didn't need them any longer.
Yeah.
But that's the Pattison contribution to the war effort, as far as
And the family
we've been
history.
told.
The family history on Michelle's side of how the stories from her past, from her dad.
And we're able to retrieve some more pictures on our next visit to England. I'll definitely try to post them on this podcast the next time.
Yep.
So,
And just for a hint for future episodes, we'll have my wife Mary on talking about her great aunt, the Flying Nun. Get
Hey.
to that next time, or some other time. Okay.
that sounds exciting. One last story I've got here.
Yeah.
So, part of the reason that I wanted to get this filmed in front of this Volkswagen microbus is because of a story I relayed earlier here to my daughter and her boyfriend about when my brother and me were probably like 8 or 9, maybe even younger. And we were, well, let me give the backstory. My dad was in the automotive business, like most of our family. My grandfather, my uncle, my dad, all worked or owned body shops. And so my dad had a older Volkswagen station wagon. Station wagon. So we were going somewhere in an evening one day, and the car just suddenly gave out. It just, the engine started to die. It was erratic, and then finally stopped. So my dad pulled the car off to the side of the road. He went ahead and
popped the trunk, which was actually where the engine was in the back.
in the back of the, he popped the back of the car to see what's going on with the car. Couldn't figure out why the engine wasn't working, and so he told us to stay in the car while he went to go find a phone. This was before cell phones.
Well before cell phones.
So
Way
he was
before.
going to go knock on somebody's door at the house to
Use their
ask,
phone to get a tow truck or something like that. To call
find
help.
assistance.
Yes.
So in the meantime, my brother and I were in this car, and we're next to a pretty busy road. There's a lot of cars driving by us. And so we're sitting there, and suddenly we start smelling smoke. And my brother's like, we got to get out of here.
I'm not panicking, but I'm like, we got to get the hell out of here. You're not supposed to have smoke in the car.
And I'm sitting there going, Mark, no, just, we were told by Dad to stay put.
I'm like, no,
Stay
no,
seated,
let's
stay
go.
here. And then suddenly I look down between my brother's legs. We were sitting in the back seat of this Volkswagen, and I see flames starting to shoot out from under the chair. And we're like, maybe we should get out.
I'm dying. I'm like crawling over him, trying to get to the door to get the hell out of there because it was smoking like crazy.
And this car was suddenly spontaneously combusting. So we got out, and in the meantime, this whole back seat catches on fire, and my dad comes back from where he was trying to make the phone call. He opens the door, pulls this flaming back seat out of
It was the lower seat cushion.
which was removable, pulls it out of the car onto the side of the road, and it just kind of goes up in flames. And what happened was the battery had not had
Which was under the rear seat. In a lot of cars, it's that way. It was under the rear seat.
and there was no cover on it. And so when my brother and I were sitting on it, it caused the springs to short the battery out, which then ended up causing the engine to die, but at the same time it heated the wires up until it caught the insulation or cushioning.
The cushioning was
The
like
foam.
not foam. It was before foam. It was like horsehair or some kind of natural fiber that they
It was
used.
like cotton, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's what caused the fire to occur. So once my dad,
I'm terrified.
What's
Dying, but I can laugh now.
once my dad pulled the seat out, well, the battery now was not shorted out. He was able to start the car. We left the seat on the side of the road and we drove off.
It was like, okay, we'll go get it fixed later.
So that's our experience with Volkswagens.
Though we love Volkswagens because my dad had a microbus also later. I got to drive it when I was a teenager in high school. I loved it, but oh my God, driving the old bus was insane because you're ahead of the front wheels, and as you turn the thing, you're like looking backwards to see where you're turning to because you're way out in front. And that's our story of a little family history of ours.
Exactly. With Volkswagen.
Okay, good.
There's the family history, all right?
There's some family history. We will be continuing a lot of it. But now
We
it's time
hope.
to move on.
We hope.
Time to move on. Next thing is
Next thing is when we may make the next one. You know what? Next one I may bring you some video from England and maybe even from Chamonix, France.
maybe that'd be cool.
Show you what old guys do to try to kill themselves.
Try to end early. Leave their children all their money. And their wife, of course.
All
their
right.
wives.
Here.
Next thing is fact check, right? Hold on.
Well, there's no facts to check, man.
We never
It's done.
check facts, but the fact is, we're gonna check the facts about the Mulberry Harbor and
Yeah,
Michelle's dad,
yeah.
as far as dates and timing and stuff like that. But the story still stands. That's the family story.
Yep, pretty
Okay.
cool. And then
What's it?
finally, it's the closing song.
Well, no, first closing remarks. Any closing remarks? It's always good to see you guys. Yes.
Yep.
Don't leave comments. Don't leave any whatever, because I don't care. But I hope you are enjoying some of our baloney.
If anybody wants to invite me to do a chunky soup commercial, I'll be happy to pose in a bathrobe.
Not me. No, cut that out. Okay. Now the jingle. Now
All
we
right.
need our closing jingle. Let's
Here
see
we
if
go.
can
Coley Jillian.
hold it up to the.
Hold it up to here.
To here. Okay. And it's done. And we're out. My brother
Okay.
didn't get it.
Tell me when you're ready.
Go.
Okay, I got a follow-on pop joke. What's the the greatest contribution by the Good Samaritans? It's beer.
Good Samaritans. No. I think that was
Samaritans.
that's being cut right now. Bye.
Got it when you're filming. Seymour, what did you think about that Popcast? Wasn't it a good one?
Yeah. Oh.
No.